guys, welcome to my 10. So in this video we'll discuss about the general physical examination in pediatrics. Basically we'll go over what are the essential tools required. So we'll begin with this. You need to have a stethoscope, a torch, a thermometer. You also need to have a percussion hammer, measuring tape, and sphygmomanometer of different cuff sizes. We also need to have a weighing machine to weigh the child, and to measure the height of the child you need a stadiometer, because in pediatrics we might have a preterm baby of less than 1 kg as well as up to an adolescent up to 40 kgs as well. So what is the general scheme for general physical examination? Firstly, we look for the general appearance of the child. We'll look for its build and nutrition. Then we'll go over the anthropometry and we'll assess the developmental status of the child. We'll also look for the vital signs, head and face, eyes, ear, nose and throat. We'll look for the neck, as well as we'll look for skin and appendages. If there is any evidence of deficiency states present, we'll look for the bones and joints, as well as genital and sexual maturity. So under all these headlines, we'll go through the general physical examination. So beginning with the vital signs. In the vital signs, we look for the temperature, we look for the pulse rate, we look for blood pressure of the child, as well as respiratory rate. We'll also look for Hess capillary test as well as Troche's sign. What is Hess capillary test? We'll press the pulp of the finger or upper sternum, and we'll look for the capillary refill, and if it is taking more than 2 seconds, then it indicates that there is decreased circulation or shock. And there is one more test known as Tourniquet Test or Hess capillary resistance test, or also called as Rumple lead test. What we'll do in this test is we will tie the BP cuff which is wrapped around the upper arm, and it is inflated midway between the systolic and diastolic. Suppose if BP is 110 by 170, we will inflate it up to 90 mmHg for 5 minutes, and then we'll examine the forearm for 5 minutes. And if there are presence of more than 10 petechiae, then it indicates that the child is having thrombocytopenia. Then the next sign is Troche's sign. In this, what we'll do is we'll tie the BP cuff above the systolic blood pressure for more than 3 minutes, and then we'll look for the increased muscle tone over the thenar eminence. Plus, there will also be a presence of adduction of the thumb. This will be because of decreased calcium levels in the blood. And then generally we'll look for the anemia, lymphadenopathy, cyanosis, presence of any jaundice or edema. So next we'll go over the head to toe examination. So beginning with the head and face. What to look for the head and face? We look for the size, shape, symmetry, as well as if there is presence of any bossing over the forehead. And we will also look for the presence of anterior and posterior fontanelles. Generally, anterior fontanelle will close between 12 to 18 months, and posterior fontanelle closes by 6 months of age. We look for whether there is any bulging or depression of the fontanelles. Then there is one more sign called as Mason sign or cracked pot sound. In this, we will percuss the skull, and we'll look for whether there is any odd shaped skull, or this odd shaped skull may be because of premature closure of sutures. Then we look for any characteristic features such as Down syndrome, any chromosomal abnormalities, or Gorgol-like symptoms. And then we look for any minor features of dysmorphism if it is present. We look for the parotid swelling, and we look around the lips and oral mucosa, and also the presence of angular stomatitis as well. Next, moving on to the eyes. We know that eyes are the windows of central nervous system. So in eyes, we look for pallor, icterus, presence of bited spots, if there is presence of xerosis, and we'll also look for presence of stye, hordeolum, chalazion, if there is any periorbital edema present. We'll also look for some of the developmental defects if present, such as ptosis, cataract, coloboma, or glaucoma. Then also assess for the size of the pupils if there is presence of pupillary reflex, and also if the child has squint. So this is about the eyes. Next, moving on to the examination of the ear, nose and throat. Beginning with the ear. Examination of ear is must in case of fever with the presence of upper respiratory tract infection or any earache or ear discharge. So in the ear examination, we look for any secretions present, the presence of wax or foreign body. We'll also examine the tympanic membrane about its color, the presence of cone of light, and any perforations if present. Then the assessment of the nose, we look for any discharges, if there is nasal congestion or blockage, if there is erosion or polyps present. In the examination of the throat, we look for presence of angular stomatitis, chelosis, because this might indicate vitamin B complex deficiency. We'll examine the tongue if it is dry, wet, and the color of the tongue and presence of papillae. We'll examine if the tongue is geographic or rot, and any white or yellowish patches if present on the tongue, and is the tongue red, beefy red tongue or strawberry tongue, or it is in normal color. We'll examine for the teeth and gums, about the oral-dental hygiene of the child, and if there is any presence of gingival hyperplasia as well. We'll also examine of the throat. In the throat, we'll look for the size of the tonsils, any inflammation present, or as well as petechiae. In this, you might also look for something called as Koplik spots, which might indicate the measles infection. So in the examination of the throat, if the child is less than 3 years, we'll examine using the help of spatula, and if the child is more than 3 years, we'll just tell the child to say ah, so that we can examine it clearly. Moving on to the examination of neck. In the neck, we look for if there is any presence of swelling, webbing, or increased jugular venous pressure. If there are any visible pulsations, visible lymphadenopathies, fistula, or cysts present, we'll examine for the position of trachea as well as thyroid enlargement. Moving on to the examination of skin and appendages. In this, we'll look for the nails of hands and feet, whether there is any clubbing present, colonochia, there are any splinter hemorrhages, ossular knots, or brittleness of the nails. Next, moving on to the skin, we'll look for the skin color, the texture, elasticity or turgor, if there is any pigmentation over the skin present, if there are any hemorrhagic spots, rashes, xanthoma, spider nevi, as well as palmar erythema. So these are all the factors we need to look into when it comes to the examination of skin. Moving on to the evidence of any deficiency state if the child is presenting with, we'll preferably ask for the pre-illness weight of the child. So this is very important, and if there is any, we'll check for the severity of dehydration if it is present, and this dehydration may show as sunken eyeballs. We can see the fontanelle will be flat, and the child will have poor skin turgor, dry tongue, and it can also have oliguria or anuria. We look for any protein calorie deficiency if present, if the child is marasmus or kwashiorkor. Then also assess the child for the deficiency of vitamin A, B, C, and D, or the deficiency of iron, calcium, copper, and zinc. Moving on to the examination of bones and joints. In this, we look for the chest deformity if the child has, or the swelling of end of the long bones, if there is any sternal tenderness or joint inflammation, and we'll also look for the size and symmetry of the limbs. Then we'll check if the child has arthralgia or arthritis. In case of hands, we'll look at the size, shape, and the length of the fingers, and when it comes to the legs, we look for the bowing of legs, if there is any presence of knock knees or club foot. Lastly, we'll go to the genital and sexual maturity of the child. Are genitals normal, or is there any ambiguous trait present? And we'll look at the sexual maturity of the sexual maturity stage of the child, if it is normal, retarded, or advanced. So thank you guys, thank you for watching till the end. Please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and share it to your other friends if you find it helpful. Thank you so much.